You ever get woken up by someone banging on your front door before sunrise? Not a neighbor borrowing sugar, not a lost Amazon package, but your HOA president with 911 already dialed, screaming that your wife is a criminal trespasser in her own home. Because that's how my Saturday started. Me in my bathrobe, mug of coffee steaming in the cold air, staring at Brenda as she rattled off accusations so loud the birds stopped singing. You want to know the punchline? By the end of that week, Brenda would be the one getting eviction papers, and half the neighborhood would be cheering. But let me rewind for a second and show you how you end up in a showdown with the queen of the clipboards. I'm Marcus, 45, industrial maintenance supervisor, and up until 6 months ago, my life was perfectly quiet. I paid my bills on time, kept my lawn neater than a pudding green, stayed out of drama, just a regular guy. Bought this place in Willowbrook Commons 3 years back. Decent spot, $205K. Nothing fancy, but clean $180 a month to the HOA for landscaping and pool upkeep. Then I married Elena, pediatric ICU nurse, the kind of woman who works 12-hour shifts, saving preemies, and still has the patience to listen to my dad jokes. The morning she moved in her Honda and our driveway boxes everywhere, Brenda Kensington shows up, heels clicking like a metronome of doom, clipboard in hand, eyes set to maximum judgment. Brenda's the self-appointed ruler of our little kingdom, retired from the county assessor's office, obsessed with grass heights. Ruler in her purse, just in case. She takes one look at Elena's Honda and goes off overnight parking commercial equipment in the car, which, by the way, is just a stethoscope and medical bag board approval for extra vehicles. You get the idea. She slaps a $150 fine on the windshield like she's conquering Normandy, doesn't even blink when I show her our marriage certificate and property deed. Rules are rules, she says, and struts off while Elena stands there, hospital badge still clipped to her scrubs, looking like she's been punched in the gut. You ever feel so angry for someone you can't even speak? That was me. Elena, who fights for other people's kids, was being treated like an intruder. By dinner, she's still in her scrubs, eyes puffy from exhaustion and embarrassment, whispering, maybe we should just pay the fine and not cause trouble. I took her hand, told her no way, and that night, lying in the dark, I promised myself Brenda was done pushing us around. 3 days later, I get a visit from a county code enforcement officer. Apparently, Brenda filed a complaint we're running a boarding house. He looks around, laughs at the idea. We're running a hospital out of our split level, and leaves shaking his head. But Brenda isn't done. Elena's hospital gets a call questioning her professional conduct and improper use of medical equipment. They laugh it off. Elena's got a reputation as a hero, but it still stings. Next anonymous notes show up. Keep our neighborhood family friendly. Some people don't belong here, written on the same fancy paper Brenda uses for her HOA letters. Then someone keys Elena's car. That was it. I snapped. That night I dug out the HOA bylaws, 47 pages of legal nonsense. My dad always said when someone plays games with rules, learn the rules better than they do. Turns out Brenda's backyard fence is over height by 8 inches. Her brand new deck was built without a permit, and every improvement over $5,000 needs board approval, none of which Brenda bothered with. The kicker, HOAs have to enforce rules equally. So I documented everything, photos, dates, violations, and called for an emergency board meeting. At the meeting, Brenda waltzes in with her little fan club, expecting to steamroll us. But when I slide the evidence across the table, it's like watching someone realize they forgot to put on pants before leaving the house. Tom Martinez, my retired accountant neighbor, starts asking Brenda about her fence and deck, and suddenly Brenda's the one sputtering about frivolous complaints. She storms out, but I know it's not over. The next day, Elena spots a private investigator staking out our house, probably hired by Brenda to dig up dirt. But the only thing he finds is Elena, who walks right up and asks if he wants her autograph, which spooks him so much he burns rubber, leaving the hospital lot. Meanwhile, Elena's boss calls her in about another anonymous tip, this time questioning her mental stability. Her boss actually laughs. Whoever's doing this has never worked with you. But it's clear now, Brenda's strategy isn't just fines, it's total war, personal, professional, psychological. A city inspector shows up after yet another complaint. No violation, obviously, unless carrying a stethoscope counts. At this point, I lawyer up attorney Sarah Martinez, who's seen 100 of these HOA nightmares. She tells me to document everything and suggests I request the HOA's financials. That's when we stumble on the real gold mine, $47,000 paid to Kensington Gardens LLC for landscaping Brenda's husband's company. No competitive bids, no board votes, no business license. Just checks written from the HOA straight to Brenda's family for work that never happened or was wildly overpriced. Elena, being the detail queen, points out every big payment lines up with a wave of Brenda's most vicious enforcement. If someone challenges her boom emergency landscaping bill. Retaliation funded by our own dues. With Tom's forensic accounting, he worked IRS fraud cases. For decades, we put together a timeline that'd make a prosecutor drool. Sarah Chen. A reporter picks up the story, finds Brenda's company is basically a shell. By now, the neighborhood's buzzing a group chat forms. Neighbors comparing notes on Brenda's reign of terror from Mrs. Patterson's $200 fine for excessive garden frogs to the Johnson's citation for a basketball hoop. Brenda, panicking, calls for an $800 special assessment to pay for security and legal expenses. That's the last straw. Neighbors show up in droves to the next HOA meeting. Tom presents his findings. Giant payments to Brenda's company timed perfectly with every major complaint plus 0 competitive bids. Brenda tries to shut it down, but Detective Walsh, who's lived here for years, stands up and announces, when HOA money goes missing, it's not just an internal matter. Brenda's face turns the color of a stop sign. Elena stands and quietly tells her story: harassment, false reports, vandalism, retaliation, and the room turns. The board votes Brenda out, bans her company, demands restitution, and Tom becomes president on the spot. You'd think that's the end, right? Brenda tries one last time, banging on our door with a manila envelope, claiming she's filing an injunction. I smile, take the envelope, hand her ours. She's being served with a property lien for the stolen funds and criminal charges pending. Right on cue, Detective Walsh pulls up, reads Brenda her rights, and the neighborhood bursts into applause as she's taken away. It's poetic. The woman who made us all live in fear now carted off in cuffs while Mrs. Patterson snaps photos. 6 months later, the difference is night and day. Brenda took a plea, paid back every penny with penalties. Her house sold at auction. Elena got a public apology and a nursing award. The HOA put the recovered money to good use: scholarships for local nursing students, a new playground, and actual transparency. Tom's financial reports come out monthly, every receipt attached, and we all know what our money's buying. Sarah's article wins awards. The state passes the Brenda Prevention Act, mandatory audits for all HOAs. And our little corner of Willowbrook families move here now just to be part of a community that stands up to bullies. So here's my question. What would you do if your HOA Karen came after your family? Drop your stories in the comments, because I guarantee you someone out there's got a tale that makes Brenda look like an amateur. If you stuck around this long smash, that hit subscribe, and remember, bullies only win when good people stay silent. And sometimes the best revenge is making your neighborhood better than the one they tried to control.